Shalom, shalom. Let's start by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Lord Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushai Bahashem Kakadash. My name is Brother Napak from the Camp Prophets in Babylon, down here in Tampa Bay, Florida. And I want to give them honor to the elders, the apostles, great millstone, who teach you well, peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, and the ones listening in. And I want to get into a quick lesson. All right, and I'm tired of this lesson. The time of mirth is over. War is on the rise. Or somewhere along those lines. All right, because, if you've been watching or on your watch tower, you're seeing everything that's going on recently. They try to come up with a lot of distractions with, these boxing matches with Andrew Tate and Jake Paul, and all these different guys, man. But for the ones that's actually been watching, you've been seeing what's going on with the U.S. and Venezuela, all right? With the U.S. trying to seize, Venezuela oil tankers. All right, now they're trying to go into the third oil tanker and seize that one. All right, and it's only getting worse. More and more tension is building up. But throughout the last couple of years, all right, the U.S. have been burning their bridges. Okay, with a lot of different countries. These countries are starting to align and team up with Russia, as you can see. China and the big, threats to America. And they all preparing, because this Bible prophecy, but they're all preparing to, send nukes over down this way. But just to get straight into it, this is a news article. It says, Russia pledges full support for Venezuela against U.S. hostilities. All right. So there's already a report how it's saying how Russia said that if Russia or if the U.S. tries anything, they will retaliate for Venezuela. All right, because right now the U.S. has been, what he trying to do is bully Venezuela out of their resources, with their oil tankers, and the whole world's watching this, and things are getting much more chaotic as time goes on, because you got the U.S. warships surrounding Venezuela, Venezuela, and it's just, these are acts of war. All right, now they haven't came out with it yet, and it's fully said, okay, we are at war, because they're just trying to keep it on the low, and that's why I said the distractions that Esau have put out, in the media is keeping people distracted from what's going on behind closed doors. All right, so it says Russia on Monday expressed quote unquote full support for Venezuela. So, basically stating that they're on Venezuela's side and they will side with Venezuela to defend them. It says, as the South American country confronts a blockage of sanctioned oil tankers by U.S. forces deployed in the Caribbean, the two governments said. All right, so this is not a time of mirth that we are in right now, man, as you can see. Because now you have people, they're so worried about all these different things that's going on in this world. It's keeping them distracted and keeping them in that spirit of mirth and happiness. But they're not in the right mindset to be prepared for what's to come. It's like the great destruction, the great war to come. All right, now this is Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 3. It says, sorrow is better than laughter, for the sadness of the countenance, the heart is made better. It says, the heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. All right, so the heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, in a mournful state, because ultimately when you're mourning, you're constantly, looking for, signs and, you watching, okay, for the things that's to go on. All right, because you're in a mourning state. So, you're more disciplined, first of all. You're more disciplined. You're watching, for signs that, this hellhole that you're, whatever you're in, is about to be over. And that's what we're doing. We're in that mournful state to where we're mourning to the Lord and waiting for the Lord to come back, all right, for prophecy to be fulfilled so we can go into the kingdom. All right. So we watching, man. All right. We watching. It says, but the hearts of fools is in the house of mirth. And that's, when you look around, that's where Jake mind is at, is in the house of mirth, happiness, being distracted, laughing all the time, thinking everything funny and a joke. All right. Playing too much, man. Okay. So they're not, when you're in that state of mindset where you're happy and laughing and everything is a joke to you, man, you're not watching and you're not prepared, and you're too much distracted to understand what's going on behind closed doors, to see the things that these devils are doing. That's why the scripture says we are not ignorant of Satan's devices, because we're seeing these things that Satan is plotting up and planning and putting together right in our faces, man. But the rest of these people can't see it because they're in that house of mirth, man. And this is not the time to be, in a happy, state of mind. All right. Now I ain't saying where you just, a downer. All right. But I'm just saying, where you're not looking at this place and thinking about the next big thing. All right. Or thinking about the future of being, successful and happy for a long time, because this place has not much longer to, continue on. All right. So you're seeing all these war acts that's happening. All right. It is showing us that time is getting closer and closer. Prophecy is being fulfilled. Let's get that. This is Matthew 24. And in verse 6, it says, "And ye shall hear of rumor of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places." So, we're hearing of those wars and rumors of wars, these news articles and things that's coming out, and we understand that, the end is not yet. All right, but we are coming closer and closer to the end, as these prophecies, are stated. It's stated in this chapter that these are the signs to know that we are in the end times. Okay, so we're getting closer and closer to, all these nukes being shot off and America being destroyed, because we're seeing the rumors of wars. All right, we're seeing nation rising up against nation and kingdom against kingdom. The whole world is going at it right now, okay? And most of the world is going against America and Israel, all right? So let me get this too as well. This is Joel chapter 3. And in verse 9, it says, "Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men and let all the men of war draw near." And this is what these heathens are doing. They're preparing for that war. All right. They're preparing to fight. They're waking up the mighty men, these, Russia, China, and their troops. All right. And they're all getting prepared for war. This is the time that they're in, man. What do you think, these other nations are doing, bro? They're not just sitting there on their ass and just watching, America do all these things. They see the tension. They see what's going on. It's like when you're about to get in a fight and you see the guy across from you pulling his pants up, getting his set ready. All right, you're gonna do the same thing. So that's what these other countries are doing. They're getting their set ready. And pulling their pants up and getting ready to fight. All right, girding up their loins and getting ready to fight, while everybody else, they sitting there being blinded by what's to come. All right? They're sitting there being blinded by what's to come, and not understanding that we are in that time of war, man, where nukes is about to be shut off, And it says, "Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. So these weaker nations, these weaker, countries, they start to say they strong, man, because you know they have their backup of Russia, all right, of China. These man, Venezuela got nukes, man. Okay, I believe they got nukes already because Russia has supplied them with those nukes. So all these other, smaller nations, they have the same nukes America has. America's not the only one that has nukes now. Okay, these other nations, these other countries are starting to advance. All right, their weaponry, and it's getting higher and higher. All right, in advancement to where now these smaller countries got nukes. Nukes is not a small thing. Okay, it's not a little thing anymore, man. It says, "Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathens be wakened, and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about." And that's over there in the Middle East. And that's where, the whole war is going to start at. It's going to, build up at is in the Middle East. And that's where the Lord's going to judge all those nations at. It's over there in the Middle East, man. So this is not the time to be, thinking about, life here, future here. Okay, because the future of this place is destruction. Okay, this is a time of getting right for the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua. This is what the scripture also says about it. It says 2 Peter 3 and verse 11 says, "Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness?" So seeing this place is going to be dissolved, nukes is going to strike ground zero, war is on the horizon, and all hell about to break loose. What manner of person are you to be in, man? Shouldn't be in a state of mind of happiness and thinking about, the big job you're trying to get into. All right, you're trying to become a NBA player, NFL player. The things these niggas are caught up in, man. All right, we don't get caught up in because we understand that the fashion of this world will pass away very soon, and we're getting closer to it. All right, so Lord willing, this lesson was edited, and I just want to get into a quick lesson on that. Giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kakadash. Once again, the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who teach you well. Peace and blessings to whole full elect. Shalom.